Sponsored by the Big 98, Nashville's #1 for new country and the home of the Bobby Bones Show.
Over 25 million albums sold worldwide, 2 Grammys. He is the king of movie soundtracks. Kenny Loggins, thanks for coming on the show today.
It's good to be here.
I can't believe that yeah, and I love your background too, Kenny, but I can't believe that this is the This Is It final tour.
I'm believing it. I'm ready for this to be it. Really, it's been a long road, and I feel gratitude and tired.
Well, you know, you're I don't even know with your songs, so many hit songs, and I was telling my producer Gordon today, you know, I've been listening to your channels and everything a lot, just getting in my head. So many hit songs. How do you even choose what to play at the different concert venues for this?
Well, thank you. It's not as many as you're thinking, but you know, if you follow the career, you know, then you're aware of the songs that kind of, you know, like top 10. But you know, you pick the hits, and then I wanted to fill in with things that mattered to me, songs that spoke to me in a way that, you know, would be like "Celebrate Me Home," for example, was never really a hit, but it's definitely one of my, you know, well-known tunes.
And an incredible song and video and everything also. And you know, and I got to bring this up also, that last year you came out with "Still All Right" with your new book, and I understand that has done pretty well also. And are you going to have copies available for this on the tour that people can get signed from you?
I believe so. Yeah.
So how's the response been since you really shared, you know, the early days in music and how you got started? I love the history of it too, Kenny, with your songs being a songwriter, really starting out that way, and having the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band do some of your songs.
Yeah, that was the very first opportunity to get a song covered was by the Dirt Band. I was at a party. I made $100 a week as a songwriter for ABC Wingate, and then I would go to different parties and work my own material. You know, there'd always be like half a dozen songwriters there. We'd sit around on the floor, you know, in a circle and take turns trading tunes. And so I would sing House of Pooh Corner and Danny's Song and Yukon Railroad and all these things that I wrote when I was a young man. And there were 2 guys at the party from the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band, and they said, "God, we want to do all your songs for our new album." So they ended up doing like 3 or 4 songs of mine.
Wow. How incredible. And you've had so many artists over the years, besides the hits that you've made with these, Kenny, you know, like This Is It, and with Footloose, and obviously with Top Gun and Top Gun Maverick, Caddyshack. I mean, the list goes on and on, but also, you know, you've worked with some incredible artists such as Michael McDonald, you know, Stevie Nicks, Jim Messina. And it's like, you know, it seems like great artists have gravitated towards you as well and to your songs.
In those days, especially when I met Mike McDonald, that's the, you know, top of the 80s there. And so there, you know, I was flying high, and so were they. And so, you know, reaching out to write with an artist was fairly common for those of us who actually collaborated.
Well, you know, and I got to bring this up too, not to embarrass you, Kenny, but you still have one of the top selling children's albums of all time with Return to Pooh Corner.
Right. Thank you.
How does that feel?
That doesn't embarrass me. No, that was because I was having kids at the time, and I kept having to listen to Barney over and over again. And I thought, okay, somebody's got to make a record that the parents can listen to as much as the kids, because they're going to listen 6,000 times.
Right.
And so it dawned on me after a while that I should be the guy to do that. And when I really dropped into that potential material, I saw great stuff out there, you know, great songwriters writing songs for their kids. The Disney movies had great songs. You just pick and choose and then bring a little production value to it.
Right.
And we ended up jokingly calling it music to make and enjoy children by. Actually, it's a very romantic record too, but at the same time, it's very peaceful. And it, you know, I met some kids that were now in their 20s who said that they listened to it every night, and that for them, they don't know the album past the first 3 songs.
Oh, wow.
Because they fall asleep every night by the 4th song. And I turned to the mother and I said, "I bet you did too." She's like, "Yep." Everybody falls asleep. And aspiring to put people to sleep with your music was not always what I thought I would be doing, but it works, you know.
Well, especially when you have the best-selling children's album, in the past 20 years, not a bad deal. And same thing also on the movie soundtracks. I mean, did you have any idea when you started your career, Kenny, that you would end up, being on all of these different movie soundtracks that were all hit movies?
Yeah, they're iconic movies, and I think that helps. That's why that, King of the movie soundtrack moniker held, because you've got Caddyshack, you've got Footloose, you've got Danger Zone. Those three right there are still among the top 10 most rented movies. So, it just keeps going.
And you're part of that fabric, because I think, certainly myself growing up with you and listening to your music, it's like, I think that they better the movies and the trailers and everything, because you always brought that enthusiasm to your music, and even in your early music, such a great lyric writer, and the instrumentation that you would bring to it, to where it's like, it was, you were crafting songs that would last, for years, and they have.
No, thank you. Thank you. You never really know when you're doing it. You just follow that thread and do what you love. A lot of yacht rock people. I do yacht rock interviews all the time, and they say, well, how did you know that you were, creating a new genre? We didn't know that. We had no idea we were creating a genre. We were just following that thread of what's fun, what feels like I want to do now. And so moving from Loggins and Messina, which was very country rock, into Celebrate Me Home, and the next era of what I was doing was a natural next step. And then I was imagining songs with all these chords. I heard all these amazing chords, but I had no idea how to play them. So then I reached out to keyboard players to collaborate with guys that could really extend those chords into areas that my guitar playing, was clueless. And so it was pretty much like you write with like David Foster, and I would say, no, not that one. Add that note there, and add that note down there. And he'd go, oh, you mean this? And then I'd go, yeah, that, because Foz is like a genius.
Right. Well, and obviously it worked. And I've got to bring up also, Kenny, your incredible charity work, including providing the theme song for the San Diego Zoo.
Ah, right. That was just a fairly recent, just before 2020 shut everything down. I was approached by the San Diego Zoo to write a song for their closed circuit TV channel, which was on all the children's hospitals. And so they said, we want something that, when these kids are in long stays at the hospital, they turn their TV on first thing in the morning. So give them something that's uplifting.
Right.
And so we wrote a thing called, speaking of waking up in the morning, I just boxed myself in. I can't remember the title of my own song. Something like, it's going to be a great day. It's going to be a great adventure. It's called
The Great Adventure.
Great Adventure. And
just like the TV series.
That becomes, it's really a fun tune, and it's been released to radio.
Well, and also you got Humanitarian of the Year from Little Kids Rock, and then also all the work that you did for Notes to Notes with the Boys and Girls Clubs also.
You've been doing your homework.
You've got a lot of interesting things to talk about, Kenny.
Yeah. No, those are all very nice, nods of saying thank you to the work, but the work has really been all about the music and where the music goes, and I just kind of follow that.
Well, and I've got to ask you this, and I'm sure a lot of people are asking this question as you are wrapping up the This Is It, tour, that will definitely go through 2023, maybe into 2024.
No.
Are you going to work at putting the new Electric Prunes back together?
I think Electric Prunes reunion is in if any of them are still alive, I think that'll be worth not doing.
Because I didn't know if you want to go back to the second helping, but I think the Electric Prunes, I think there's a lot of options there.
There is, and there's a whole movement. You're totally confusing your audience.
Perfect dad joke.
That's a dad joke. Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, it's like, when you look back though, over your career though, Kenny, it's like, and you've even done voiceovers for animated cartoons, and you were obviously a radio DJ and a hit in Grand Theft Auto from back in 2013.
That was fun. You know, I wasn't sure whether to do that or not when they approached me. And then I called my kids up and I said, what do you think? And they said, Dad, Grand Theft Auto is American pop culture to the max. You've got to do it. So I did it. It was fun. That's really funny writing. Hilarious.
So do you think, as you're coming off the tour, which, you're needing a break from the touring, are you going to throw yourself into recording more? What do you think that Kenny Loggins wants to dig into now?
Well, what I know is that I need to stay creative to keep my head on right. So I'm looking at projects. I like mentoring young singer-songwriters. So I reached out to my local record company. Santa Barbara Records has an album that they're putting together of young people. And I'll just work with them, help co-write things, help record, help produce their things, stuff like that. I enjoy that. I love working with young writers because A, they're the first teenagers I've met who actually listen to me. And B, there's some amazing talent out there. And it's really fun to work in areas that I wouldn't have thought of.
What a great way to nurture those, though. And I want to make sure for our viewers too, with your tour and everything going on, and I know they're all going to be selling out. And also, I know you can't tell us, but there are going to be special guests depending upon the city, right?
But it depends on the city and who's around and who's available. Everybody's on the road. It's really hard to get, but I got Mike McDonald is going to join me in Santa Barbara, and that'll make a great closing thing. David Foster and a few other surprises. But we're working on it. So if you happen to be a rock star and you're watching this show, call me.
Exactly. Well, and I know also with the fan club that you have the different levels, like you have the Footloose package and you have the This Is It VIP package also, Kenny.
Well, yes.
So just another way to kind of enjoy the experience that is Kenny Loggins.
I'm actually meeting about 50 people a night at the sound check.
Wow.
So that particular presentation is, I better learn what that's called. That's what did you say? Which there's a couple.
You have the Footloose,
right? Not that.
And then you also have the This Is It.
That's the This Is It package. Yeah. And so they can come. We meet them after the sound check, and they watch some of that, and it's kind of an in-depth. This is Kenny's room. That's his toilet. Very, very in-depth.
And also, here are the guitars that Kenny brought on this tour.
None of them are Taylors.
But you do have some nice new ones. You have some McPhersons and
also that other one that I told you about that
a custom made.
Yeah.
Fun stuff. Well, I want to make sure too, Kenny, for your website, for social media, also to get a signed copy of this, Still All Right. Where do our viewers need to go?
Well, probably the best thing is the website.
Okay.
Would be kennyloggins.com. And just cruise through that, and I think you'll see a lot of options.
Including the special fan thing to where they could come and hang out with you and see your green room and the green M&Ms and everything.
We sit around, get drunk, talk about it.
And also you have that album that came out in 2021 with At the Movies.
Yeah, which is just vinyl. So speaking about the electric prunes, we may do that too.
Wow. I think I still have some Kenny Loggins. I think I have some of your vinyl at the house still.
Yeah, this is a red vinyl record, and it's just the movie songs, the Footloose, Danger Zone, the original versions of all the movies, Playing with the Boys, Meet Me Halfway, For the First Time, etc.
Wow. Such great songs. Kenny, it's so great to have you on the show, and I know it's going to be an amazing tour, and obviously you're going to stay creative. Love the book, and also with the vinyl album, At the Movies. Great music that will live on. I'm so glad you're out on tour sharing this with your fans. Thank you for joining the show.
Thank you. It's good talking to you again.
Sponsored by the Big 98, Nashville's #1 for new country and the home of the Bobby Bones Show.